Alright guys, welcome back. We are zoomed in over here because Believe decided not to stay in his base and go for a bit of a proxy. So he's down one in the series, spawning in the bottom right but building in the top left. It's going to be the green Protoss, Believe.
In the top left as the red Protoss, it's HuK.
Considering how much is contingent on this matchup, how much like just hangs in the balance for this is a really risky move. Like really risky. Now, in fairness, classically, we've actually seen HuK lose to much worse proxies. I will never forget that series he played versus Crank in 32 Boys 1 Cup. But if HuK doesn't scout, and HuK sometimes doesn't scout, in fact, it's safe to say more often than not in PvP, he doesn't scout, he might not actually catch this coming.
Yes, of course, we always have to allude to the famous 2-gate by Crank.
This was just so good. It was so stupid. It was the most you need to scout me build possible.
Yeah, it was quite amazing. Now he's scouting where Crank would have 2-gated at the ramp, but will he scout any farther? You know, he's really going for the very, very close scout, but is it rallied anywhere else? It looks like it's rallied to the base, so he might barely see this attack like 0.5 seconds before it happens. Oh, but he's not getting a zealot, never mind. No,
he's going straight to the stalker version of this, so
yeah,
you do this a little bit faster by skipping that first zealot. But it also means you'll have one less unit to work with, which means HuK might actually be able to keep toe-to-toe with you. The key thing about this build is that it's the production that wins us out. You'll always be able to build one more extra stalker than HuK is the idea. But the second he scouts this is the case, all HuK really has to do is throw down a second gateway. He'll have the leeway of pulling about 4 to 5 probes because that's the advantage of what he has over his opponent. And then just start taking good defensive engagements, snowball and win.
Yeah, he knows what it is. All right, it's not even an idea. He knows what it is. There's just a lack of probes in the main base of Believe, lack of buildings in the main base of Believe, and all he has to figure out is like, were you doing 2-gate and you're bulking up the zealots, or are you going for the cybernetics core? And I think he did see the gas. He did, so he knows which one it is. And he should have, you know, he has the idea of a perfect reaction, but we'll see if his control is perfect. Because we see people scout this, you know, immediately and still lose to it.
The Mothership Core makes this a little bit tough, because if she lives long enough, the Photon Overcharge comes out, and it's such a huge amount of damage. Such a huge time block you buy yourself. But at the same time, that 100 gas invested into this early, that's less stalkers you'll have in the field.
Trying to target down the Mothership Core.
I really like that he pulled the probes
fairly
too.
Important. Oh my goodness.
No, but he kills the zealot, and I would argue that's a little more important. That's the thing that soaks the hits. HuK wasn't hesitant to pull the probes at all. Usually, that's where we start seeing this fall apart. Players get a little bit antsy. They say, "Well, I know I've got more probes, but I really don't want to come off of mining." By pulling those 6 probes immediately, so good. Yo, sick as sub. Scarlet M. I have no idea who that is. Some washed up Dota player, I guess. Either way, thank you for subscribing to the channel. The stalker count they're getting a little bit heavy here for Believe. I mean, HuK's chronoing this out. He's really trying to get to where he can fight. But seconds away from having the overcharge, he should not lose anytime soon.
Yeah. No, I think HuK. Honestly, I think HuK has this in the bag. And
Plug and Ice, by the way, says he bought Arkham Knight on G28 tonight. Full on passion mode. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so this is why, you know, I think that HuK has this in the bag. He's still up by 7 probes. He has a post-and overcharge to buy him even more time. He has equal production to his opponents. I think this
better
is
money
really
too.
Good. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, at a point, Believe's actually not going to be able to afford to build pylons, especially if this one gets picked off. This was built for high ground vision, but what he needs it for right now is supply, weirdly enough. As Mothership Core has to be kind of careful. I mean, yes, you got the overcharge out of it, but it's still a useful unit to have and not something to easily throw away. There's the high ground vision. There's the supply block. HuK's also coming up on Warp Tech. Everything's trading up aces for him, and it looks like he might just 2-0 his way to Challenger League.
Yeah, very bold build from Believe, and I like seeing that. Like that confidence, that willing to take a risk. I think, you know, later on it might win him a challenger, you know, next season or something like that. But this time, it just wasn't the right build. HuK reacted pretty perfectly against it. He loses the stock, loses the Mothership Core, but his production, his economy is still winning out. GG.
Ladies and gentlemen, HuK will be your last qualifier for WCS America, making it into Challenger League. And again, I just want to kind of emphasize, like, he didn't want to be cast today. He was really definitely stressed about